Some of the pieces that have seems to resonate with people is Ted's incredibly high emotional intelligence. Did you guys? I mean, you talked about mentors already, but did you guys have conversations about how that would have been developed? I mean, quite frankly, most of us expect a football coach to be like the old Ted Lasso, not the new Ted Lasso. So, is there a backstory to Ted's development?
Yeah, we did a ton of character work, and I think even the most unsophisticated detective could probably tell you that Ted is coming from a place that there was a lot of unresolved emotional issues and maybe some pathos in his past.
Yeah.
And that stuff will be revealed as we go on. But so, in ways that I'd never do any spoilers, because it's fascinating, because Apple's a huge tech company and this is one of their first TV shows, and they protect their fictional content like they protect their new phone. You're not allowed to talk about it. But I did say to somebody, I don't think a grown man can have a vividly created panic attack and then just automatically be better. So just so that guy's got an emotional journey to go on, and we are dropping hints about his relationship with his father. As a speech when he played darts, when he says his dad.
Yeah.
And so I think we started from a place, and I thought Jason was really astute about this too, that for Ted to be a bit of a rube when it comes to football and fish out of water when it comes to London, were he not at least emotionally intelligent, it would have been too much. And so that kind of savviness is what is that guy's saving grace, but it does come from backstory that will be revealed slowly, especially as we start jumping into the second and third season.
So I think one of the most remarkable parts about the character is especially when Ted arrives and he is greeted by stands full of people shouting vulgarities at him, right? Like stands full. And then every place he goes, like every bar he walks into and every place, everybody's criticizing him. And he's able to stand in the middle of it so calmly. That had to be a deliberate move. I mean, because that's just such a profound example of kind of calm, non-anxious leadership that we long for, and that we weren't, and that as a country we haven't seen much in the last.
It's interesting, man. I'm always impressed by it in the real world, even if it doesn't pan out. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if you say, I'll tell you my first example. This is I was lucky as a very young writer. The first show I created, Spin City, I co-created with a man named Gary Goldberg, who created a show called Family Ties in Brooklyn Bridge, and he was an absolute icon in my field, and kind, and first person to start daycare at Paramount. It has all this legacy of great things that he did before he passed. He passed of brain cancer a couple of years ago, too young. He taught me about leadership, because running a show is a very weird gig, because you're usually just somebody that got into it to write jokes and tell stories. And as you get to a certain level, then you become in charge of 120 other individuals who you want to both empower and have them feel safe and protected. Like I often joked, I was not ready, Todd, for the amount of people, like in Scrubs, the amount of people that would come into my office and have a real emotional need to unload some stuff. And the writers used to do a joke about me, is that when I was younger, I was so uncomfortable with it that I would subconsciously pile things up on my desk as they were talking, and literally building a wall between them and me, because they would come in and say, like, hey, I know you can probably tell I haven't been there kind of really focused emotionally lately, but what's going on at home? And I would be like, oh God, no. But anyways, I learned because one of the things that Gary taught me about leadership, and the main one that you just said in terms of the calmness and stuff, is his biggest hint to me, was when you go into a leadership situation, like running a show or coaching a team, you have to have 100% confidence in the path that you are taking. And this happens on a week-to-week version in show running, because you're like, I'm 100% confident that this version of this script is going to work. And then and it's going to be fine. Everybody's going to be great. We all do our jobs. We're all invested. It's going to work perfectly. And then I said to him as a young guy, but I'm like, what if, you know, because you'd show the scripts and networks or you do rehearsals. I'm like, what if it's a disaster and it doesn't work? And he goes, well, then what you have to do is you change your direction. And then you show up the next day 100% confident that the new direction is right. And, you know, and he said, so the next day you have to come in and go, hey, that you're right. That one, what didn't work. But what we're doing now is without a shadow of a doubt going to be fine. And everybody's going to be okay. And that kind of calming thing has affected my views of leadership, but also how I write and how I write characters like that, you know, is you have to have that kind of inner belief that the path that you've chosen, we talked about it a lot, even if it's not, doesn't equate to what everybody thinks matters, that it equates to what you think matters. And that definitely became part of the show.